Hi, let's learn about ER verbs in French. Did you know that over 80% of French verbs are ER verbs? They're pretty easy to conjugate. Let's learn them. Here's a list of common ER verbs. Pause and write them down. Here's the pattern. Pause and write it down. Let's start with the infinitive. How do we conjugate it? Well, we chop off the ER, and now we're left with the stem, and we add those endings. And we end up with je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. Did you notice that the forms inside of the boot all sound like parle? Wow, c'est facile. So let's do another. Let's do another one. Rigoler, to laugh. Rigoler. That's how you can remember it. Rigoler. Take the ER, chop it off, add these endings. We end up with, now pay attention to how the verb sounds inside the boot. Je rigole, tu rigoles, il rigole, nous rigolons, vous rigolez, il rigole. Okay, one last thing. If you have a verb that starts with a vowel or H, with je, that J-E, je, becomes j with an apostrophe. So now listen. J'écoute, tu écoutes, il écoute, nous écoutons, vous écoutez, ils écoutent. Ah, that vowel sound also affects the plural forms. The plural forms end in an S, and the liaison with the vowel or H that happens after it sounds like Z. Let's go to another. J'habite, so habiter means to live. J'habite, tu habites, il habite, nous habitons, vous habitez, ils habitent. Great. So any verb that starts with a vowel or H, you use J apostrophe instead of J-E. J'habite, j'écoute, j'étudie, j'adore, j'aime. And the nous and the vous forms have that Z sound. Nous habitons, nous écoutons, nous étudions, nous adorons, nous aimons. Look at the vous. Look at the vous. Vous habitez, vous écoutez, vous étudiez, vous adorez, vous aimez. So here's a couple of weird things about ER verbs. Verbs that end in GER and CER have something special happen. You add an E to the new form to preserve the soft sound of the G, so it still sounds like G. And you add a si c'est dit instead of a C to the new form to preserve the soft sound of C. Okay, so you remember these endings. So we're talking about the new form, the ONS form. If you put a C in front of ONS, it sounds like con. And if you put a G in front of ONS, it sounds like gon. But what if that C sound is supposed to be soft, or that G sound is supposed to be soft? So for example, the verb manger, to eat, it has a soft G sound. Je mange, tu manges, il mange. If we just spell the new form like this, it sounds like nous mangeons, like we mango. That's not a thing, okay? So we add this E to preserve the soft sound. Nous mangeons. Let's look at commencer, to commence, to begin. It has a soft C sound. It sounds like an S. Je commence, tu commences, il commence. If we spelled the new form like this, it would be nous commençons. There's a bad word in there. We don't want to do that. So what do? We replace the C with a si c'est dit to preserve the soft sound. So let's look at a few other verbs that end in GER and CER. I think you should probably write them all down, but the ones you need to know are nager, voyager, and lancer. Those are pretty important. Maybe remplacer. So to sum up, how do you conjugate an ER verb? Well, first, make sure you know these endings. Make sure you can just write them down. And then you need to know what to add the endings to. How do you come up with the stem? Well, you take your ER verb and you chop off the ER, and you add those endings. La fin. Thank you for watching.